So this is really has come about for a number of reasons. So the first thing is I've been aware. So I've had a recent change of my business model really, and in the last few months, I think as most of you know, I've been doing stage hypnosis. I've had a complete change of direction, and it's taken a lot of my energy. So I've not been putting as much energy into my other or promoting, not the actual client, but the actual getting the stuff across. And also because I was spending such a lot of money on like ads, I cut out all the ads because it was so expensive to carry on. So I cut ads, and as a result, I was sort of like looking at. I've been using TikTok and trying to think of a social media to use to market my business much more so than I was doing. And it's like going back to the beginning in one area because I think right, I've got to generate income by using this particular platform. And it was interesting because I've got a friend who's doing really, really well on TikTok, like ridiculous. Andy Robson, you check him out if you don't know who he is. He's not been doing hypnotherapy for very long. It's like, how the fuck have you done that quickly? So he's got 100K followers, and it's interesting because he's become a really good friend of mine, and we speak most days, and I really get on with him. But I was feeling discouraged rather than looking at the numbers and thinking this is really encouraging to that he's done this quickly. So it's going to take ages to get there. And there is an element of that, but that sort of like feeling, and it's the same with the stage hypnosis shows where there's a lot of work for me to do to get booked, to get my name out there, to get in the position, same position I was in with my therapy clients, to get all the reviews, it's starting a whole new business again, and it's really quite. There are times where it's hard work, but it's also quite demoralizing at times. So I noticed the amount of challenges that I get in terms of my own thinking, whether it's I'm too old anyway, why am I doing this at this age, or so as is, that is, I've never been healed of all rubbish thought or negative thinking. So again, listening to a lot of stuff. I've been doing meditation every day for the last 6 months. But I started with my sister's meditation. Well, actually, wasn't started. Started with Joe Dispenza. Went to my sister's meditation, which was very good. And then now, since then, I've been doing my own meditation because I want longer and I want focus. And I've been doing it with my self hypnosis, and it's great. And I've got affirmations so that when I've got these negative thoughts, I'm aware of them, and then I can counteract them with things. So making sure that they're relevant for whichever thought. If it's a perceived, I wouldn't say jealous, I'm not jealous, but deflated. If a deflated is not a good feeling, to rather than being encouraged by someone's success, to feel deflated is a really negative energy. And I'm aware of that, and I know that. And on all the other sort of like just like someone else. So all the other feelings that we all recognize as being unhealthy, anything that makes us feel attached to our limitations, or looking at people as though they've got something that we haven't got, or they're all really unhelpful, energy draining feelings. So that's the part of the basis of the Diamond Mind Protocol. That was the beginning of where I have been in terms of looking for myself. And then it takes me also to my daughter, my youngest daughter, who is a really superb tennis player, regional player. But then she had the worst season last year, and I have talked about this a couple of times recently. But to the point where she stopped enjoying tennis, she started thinking, I've never heard her saying she thought that's it. And she literally has decided to stop doing competitions. She's quit competitions. And that's fine for me. I don't care whether she's never did tennis for me or for my husband. But she fell into a real depression. She was only like 12, and she was like really, really depressed, like heartbroken. So she was like, that's all she's done since she was 4. She's been a tennis player. And then she said to me, I don't know what I want to do now. Like, I thought, you don't know, you don't need to know what you want to do. You're only 11, but now just 12. But she was broken by the fact she didn't know what her life purpose is. And of course, I do hypnosis with her anyway. But that was really, really hard. So I've been looking at stuff. And then what I did most recently, so was working with a woman with infertility. So and I hadn't worked with someone with this particular problem before. And so I was looking for things in relation to some of the emotional roller coasters she was going on in her battle with infertility. And I happened to come across a brilliant podcast, which I will share with you afterwards, with a woman called Linda Miller, who's a psychiatrist and a spiritualist, who'd had this exact pretty much this journey about of being she was unable to have babies, and that she then became a spiritual parent, and it was about her journey. And she also talked about depression as being a major awakening in our lives. We're almost hardwired to get depressed at certain times. And I certainly had a breakdown when I was 19 or 20. I've talked about this before. I read a load of Nietzsche. My older sister had gone mad. I had lots of stuff going on, but I had it was a combination. It wasn't just one thing. And then I discovered Nietzsche, and I wasn't ready. I'd been brought up in a Judaic, culture, religion, and even though I wasn't practicing, having everything stripped was just too much. And especially with Nietzsche isn't particularly, it's not a very uplifting or hopeful message for it. So just to be told that's all rubbish, but not really having anything put in its place was probably too much for me at that point. So I had a breakdown, and that was my first proper breakdown. And then probably until I was teaching, and then this one that just took me to hypnotherapy. And it was so right that every time we have in my life, when I could see, and also Carl Jung talks about that, these periods of life which we think are depressions are actually opportunities as awakening and saying, this is you need something, you need spiritual connection. And we start looking for things, we start looking for change, and we start, so it's often an open door. Anyway, as a result of that particular thing, I found this brilliant podcast, and I've found a couple of exercises within it. I thought I'm going to utilize these, because one was about life purpose. So all these things came together. So I was obviously, I had my call it script, the thing that I did for my, which is a combination of all the meditation that I'm doing, which looks at creativity, financial abundance, relationships, pretty much everything holistically. But this protocol is really designed to allow myself, first of all, because I always start from myself. I got this path. I want to do this. My comedy hypno rave, I'm going to change the world. I'm raising consciousness for everyone, and I'm getting them to dance, but I'm also spreading the word of hypnosis, having a laugh. And I really, really, very, very passionately have this vision for what I'm doing. But every now and again, as I said, I'm getting, it's hard. It's hard to generate, all aspects of it are hard. It's essentially a new business. And then you've got the other thing where, I'm a bit older than I was thinking. I was 20, 21, 22 when I started doing stand-up comedy. And I thought I was too old then. I started lying about my age at that point. I think I was like, when I was 23, I started saying I was 22. And, and that was like over 25 years ago, or whatever. So if I'm 51 now, then, that gives you an idea. So it's hard when you got whatever, but that's my personal limitation. Everyone has their own. So this protocol is really designed to deal with all of the relative issues that you have. I'm going to ask you to think about challenges within that, and then offer moments of clarity. You're going to consult with your deep unconscious mind, and you're going to find some purpose, and just gain some clarity on what feels aligned to your goals, and keep coming back to that place. So if everyone is ready, then we'll start the hypnosis. So make sure you're somewhere comfortable. Okay, everyone looks pretty comfortable. Okay. And what I want you to do is I want you just to find a spot on the wall across from where you're sitting. Okay, and just stare at that fixed place, and just really focus completely. Make your eyes wide as you really stare at that focal point. Okay. And as you do, you can just begin to clear the space in your mind. Think, I'm going to get ready to relax. And just allow your breathing to begin to slow. Okay, this isn't really about trying hard. It's just allowing a natural shift. Sorry, I'd like you to just notice now, as you continue to stare, that your eyes are probably beginning to get a little bit fatigued. And as you do, you can notice your breathing. And some people might notice it in your shoulders. As you continue just to stare ahead, you might notice a sensation of wanting to blink. And you don't make that happen, that just happens naturally. And as you continue to stare. You might notice that increasing fatigue in your muscles all around your eyes. And I wonder if you have a growing sense of wanting to close your eyes. And if you want to close your eyes, that's fine. You can just go ahead and enjoy that feeling of whatever it brings to you. And you can simply notice how each breath becomes a little slower now, a little smoother, a gentle signal that says, it's okay now. To go inside your mind. But I'm going to be a bit mean now, not just yet, but in a moment, because what I'd like you to do in a moment is I'm going to ask you to open your eyes again. And when I do, I want you just to return to that focal point on the wall. And I'd also like you to raise one of your arms, whichever hand you don't write with. So your non-dominant hand, I want you just to raise out your arm so it's parallel to the floor. But I want you to hold it out so it's really stiff out in front of you. And make it really stiff, like a metal rod. So that's it. So now you can open your eyes, find that point on the wall above you, hold your arm in front of you so it's stiff like a really, really, really hard metal rod. And I'm going to count from 10 to 1. And at each count, I want you just to close your eyes. As you'll count up from 1 to 10, I want you to close your eyes on each count. So 1, close your eyes, keeping your arms still straight ahead, like a really heavy metal rod. 2, open your eyes and find that point. Sorry, your eyes are. Now close your eyes. I'm going to call that 3. I don't know if I've already managed to lose count for you. 4, open your eyes. 5, 6. That's right, beginning to feel more relaxed now. 7, you're doing great. 8, 9, 10. And now I'd like you just allow that arm that you've been holding just to float down and drift down. And as it does, just allow you to go into a wonderful deep trance. And just let it make you go even deeper relaxed. Taking you to a really peaceful and relaxed place. And just enjoy that sensation for a moment. Perhaps you can spend. Is there no sound? Is that better? I thought I could see some confused looking faces. Sorry about that. So yeah, just go back there and just with your eyes closed. Just notice your breathing. Your mind drifting, your eyes closed. So imagine yourself just drifting through a night sky, being compelled forwards. Or perhaps you might feel yourself being pulled deeper and deeper to a place, a safe place deep within your own unconscious mind. Because as you know, you have a conscious mind, but you also have a vast and powerful unconscious mind. And that's a part of you that's responsible for everything, for 90%, 95% of everything. Your automatic behavior, your breathing, your thoughts and sensations, all of it. Just allow that breath just to take you deeper now as you grow more comfortable with the idea that you're going to experience change. Perhaps it's the sensations in your body that allows you to go deeper now, much deeper, drifting. And as each breath gently guides you down, the body settling, letting go of any tension now. Just listening to my voice as my words take you deeper into your own unconscious mind. And your thoughts can come go. You have no need to hold on to them. Just imagine just letting them go, letting them drift freely. Unconscious mind listening more clearly, every word taking you more relaxed and yet more focused, until you know that you're exactly where you want to be. You're at this safe, receptive place within. It's like you're looking through the opening of a dark cave, but yet you see this chink of light shining. This is what you've been looking for. This is an unusual place within your mind, a place that you can return to whenever you choose to reactivate this diamond part of your mind. And as you stare at the light within the darkness, as you rest your attention here, you become aware that the light is coming from a diamond, your inner diamond, the crystal of your unconscious mind. And it's believed that we actually have a tiny, tiny microscopic piece of crystal in our minds that acts like an antennae. But this light that shafts, has come from not a single point of light, but a living, multifaceted presence with many points, many faces, each one shining a powerful, distinct light, all part of one whole. And you may begin to notice or simply know that each facet represents an aspect of you, of yourself. One light, one facet for your creativity, one for your relationships, one for your finances, one for your career, one for your deeper life purpose, and perhaps others that your unconscious knows are important to you. And each facet shines with its own quality of light, eternal, ethereal, just a part of who you actually are, part of your being, part of your spirit, your soul, that part of you that's eternal, whatever you want to call it. But the light of creativity might feel playful, colourful, inventive. The light of relationships for you might feel warm, connected, tender. The light of finances, stable, grounded, secure. The light of career might feel focused, capable, expressive. And the light of purpose might feel deep, meaningful, quietly powerful, grounding you. And as you become aware of these lights shining from this multifaceted diamond, you may also notice that on each facet, there may be places where that light seems so obscured, where it's hitting something or being shadowed. Perhaps it's a tiny film of dust or fog, each shadow representing an obstacle, an old obstacle, a limiting belief, a story you once believed. I'm not creative enough. I don't deserve that kind of love. I'll never be good with money. I'm stuck in this career. I don't know what my purpose is. You don't need to force anything. For now, you are simply meeting these feelings or ideas, acknowledging that they have been there, and they do not define the diamond itself. The light is still there, behind the shadow, waiting to shine more clearly. And because the light of the diamond becomes clearer when it is seen, recognized, and loved, your unconscious can prepare now to welcome a very particular kind of guidance in your inner chamber. And you might like to imagine yourself now in a safe, quiet inner room in your own mind, a place where only the truth and care are allowed to enter. And in this chamber, I want you to imagine there's a table in front of you. It could be any kind of table that feels right. And to this table, you can invite anyone living or no longer here who truly has your best interests in mind. You don't need to decide exactly who. You can trust that only those who genuinely care are invited to sit with you here. Be family, friends, mentors, teachers, guides, anyone whose presence feels kind and solid. And just imagine that now. And as they sit around your table, you can simply ask them one by one or as a whole, do you love me? Allow yourself to feel or sense or quietly know the answer to it. Now you may invite your higher self to the table, the part of you that is so much more than anything you may have done or not done. Part of you that's eternal, wise, quietly loving. And invite this higher self to sit with you and ask, do you love me? Again, let the answer come in whatever way is right for you. And finally, you may invite your higher power and whatever your word is, however you know that that presence, maybe God, a spirit, source, life, the deep sacred force in you, through you, and around you. And you can ask, do you love me? And just allow yourself to receive that answer in feeling, in knowing, or in profound silence. With all these presences around your table, those who love you, your higher self, your higher power, you can just gently ask, what do you need to share with me now? What do you need to show me? What do I need to know? Just allow the images, the words, sensations or memories to arise. I'm just going to give you a few moments to see that, to connect to that. Don't need to analyze them now. Just receive as if your heart were listening to a message of love and truth. And as those messages are shared, you may notice something happening to the diamond. Perhaps those beams, those darkened spots, those shadowed places on the earth begin to soften, as if the love and wisdom in this inner chamber is polishing each facet, wiping away old cloudy stories, revealing more of the brilliance that was always there. Take a moment to get a sense of that facet of your creativity shining more brightly, as if someone is saying, yes, you really are creative. And just take a moment to see what your creativity looks like for you. Imagine yourself engaged in that creative act, something that gives you so much joy. How do you feel about yourself when you are totally engaged in this act, this creative expression? Notice where you feel it in your body. And then you turn to see the facet of light on your relationships, warming, as if you are shown how worthy you are of deep, healthy love. And perhaps an affirmation comes to mind. All my relationships are filled with beautiful presence, connection, and reciprocity. Reciprocity. The facet of finances becoming clearer, light shining stronger with a quiet sense that you can learn, you can grow and be supported, that you can grow and develop, find help for the areas that you might need, whether it's coaching or partner or whatever it is, you can see something pointing the way. The facet of career sharpening as you feel more permission to step into what fits you. And the facet of your life purpose glowing with a deeper light shining the way ahead. And your purpose is the whole of you, not just one part. And the more you allow yourself to be loved, the brighter each facet will beam. And at the very center of this sacred chamber of your unconscious mind, and while the lights of love are shining, I'm inviting you now just to imagine and locate a time when you wanted something so badly. It felt like it was yours, that was meant to be yours. It was a red door that was meant to be yours. Perhaps it was a job, a school, a team, a person you wanted, a yes from. And everything about it said it was yours. You'd researched it, you trained for it, you studied for it, you worked for it all your life. You put your heart and soul into it. You strategized, you designed, you did A plus B plus C. You did everything right to get that red door. And you see yourself now standing in front of it, reaching for the handle. Feel how convinced you were that this was your door. Now, in your mind, you reach for the handle and notice the handle is stuck. You pull and it does not open. And you might kick the door, you might yank it or rattle it, because surely after everything you've done, it should open. And allow yourself to feel briefly and safely that frustration or disbelief. Yes, I really wanted that red door. And then allow yourself in this inner scene to turn. You may turn 30 degrees, 60, 90, perhaps 120 degrees, just enough of a turn to see something you hadn't seen before. And over there, you notice a wide open, sparkling yellow door. And maybe you once didn't believe yellow doors existed. Maybe you thought, that's not possible, that's not for me. And yet there it is, glowing, welcoming, quietly waiting. And on the other side of that yellow door is something that makes you feel alive. Perhaps a person who sees you more deeply than you've seen yourself. It could be a job or a path more suited to who you really are. A mentor or community that recognizes your gifts. A new direction that you didn't know you needed. Something better for you, even if it wasn't what you thought you wanted. Allow yourself in this memory or metaphor to walk through the yellow door now. And notice what was really there for you. Notice how it felt, how that door changed who you became, how it connects to where you are today. And as you sit down inside this scene, you can look back at the stuck red door, the small turn you made, and the wide open yellow door you discovered. And gently ask yourself, was there someone at that point of turn who said something Someone who shared a story perhaps with me or who nudged me even a little. And maybe you met them for 2 minutes at a party or in a shop. Maybe it was a counselor or a friend who, for the first time, shared a story you'd never heard before. And you can think of that person now as a trail angel, a guide who pointed you consciously or unconsciously toward the yellow door. And you allow yourself to feel gratitude for that trail angel, for that moment, for the turn. And now, as you continue to sit back or lie back with your eyes closed, you can see the whole pattern. The red stuck door, the smallest of turns, the trail angel, the wide open yellow door. And you may begin to wonder how often the most important parts of your life are not found by narrowing or not by narrow planning alone, but by being in deep dialogue with the journey itself. Yes, of course, you do your part. You study, you prepare, you show up. And beyond that, there is a larger movement, a sacred intelligence in your life in which the red door, the turn, the trail angel, and the yellow door all belong. And you might quietly ask, where has my higher power been in all of this? Where was the sacred in the stuck red door? Where was that presence in the smallest of turns? Where was it in the trail angel and in the wide open yellow door? And you may notice that your higher power, your life purpose, your spiritual path have been present all along, not just in the doors that opened, but in the ones that stayed closed, guiding you, often more than you realized, towards the doors that truly fit the whole of who you are. And as you feel into that, you may sense that your life purpose is not a single narrow job description, but the whole of you, the entire diamond, every facet, every turn, every door has held within a larger, loving intelligence. And now let your awareness return to the diamond within. Notice how it looks different, perhaps brighter, clearer, more coherent. Each facet, creativity, relationships, finances, career, life purpose, reflecting the light of everything you have seen and felt. And from this place, your unconscious can begin to treat challenges, pressure, and even criticism the way the earth treats carbon, using pressure to create clarity, strength, and brilliance. And you might gently bring to mind a recent challenge, something that felt like a pressure, a criticism, or a difficulty. You don't need to dive deeply into it. Just let a smell or let a visual, let a small, safe version of it float out in front of you like a picture on a screen at a comfortable distance. And just notice how that picture appears. Is it close or far? Bright or dim? Still or moving? If you like, you can just change it now, move it away a bit further, soften the colours, turn down any harsh sounds so they become quieter, perhaps even a little silly or distant. And as you do this, see that situation being drawn towards the inner diamond. The diamond simply does what it does. Pressure is compressed, crystallized, transformed into energy and momentum. And you may notice that as the old image softens, something new appears, a clearer sense of what you learned, a new skill, a boundary, a decision, a way that this challenge is now secretly working for you. From now on, a part of you can automatically ask, What can this give me? Instead of, what is this doing to me? And life includes other people's opinions. Sometimes they're fair, sometimes they're not. And your unconscious can begin now to sort these in a more useful way. And imagine yourself standing with that diamond at your center. Any criticism or doubtful comment arrives like a small piece of rough stone. Some of these stones bounce off your diamond shield completely because they have nothing to do with you. They simply fall away harmless. Others, the few that truly carry a useful message, are gently drawn in, polished, refined, so that any truth becomes guidance and anything unnecessary is released. So criticism either becomes fuel or nothing at all. And the same is true of your own self-talk. Any old self-doubt can now be noticed. As soon as your unconscious hears that old voice, it remembers the diamond and begins to ask automatically now, how can I use this to move forward? What is my next small step? Even self-doubt becomes a signal to reconnect with your strength, your direction, your next action. You can install an anchoring phrase, such as the one that you did at the beginning of this call. Or, I am enough, I've always been enough, I always have. Every soul-aligned decision I make brings unexpected gifts. I'm free to be authentic. Being myself is my greatest gift. The love I seek outside myself is first born within me. Health is my body's natural state. In a moment, you can just choose a simple phrase that represents this state that you're in right now, or any of these, or you can simply call it my diamond mind, or pressure to power, or any words that feel right for you. When you silently say those words, your unconscious can recreate this feeling of clarity, strength, and forward movement. Now just quietly take a moment to choose your words. And just repeat them internally and notice how your body responds. Again, perhaps adding a gentle deep breath in. As you link the phrase, you can even put your hands on your chest, your heart, and the breath and the diamond feeling together. And from today, each time you use that phrase with that kind of breath, your unconscious can remember that challenges become your fuel. Just like the diamond, pressure becomes clarity, and you move step by step in the direction of your goals. And you do not need to know consciously all the ways this process is already working. Your unconscious can continue, even after this session, to search for memories, experiences, and beliefs, finding old moments of pressure and quietly reclassifying them, rewriting the labels, so that more and more of your past becomes a reservoir of strength and learning instead of weight. You might notice in the coming days small signals that the diamond mind is active, a different reaction, a calmer response, an unexpected idea, a sense of direction where there used to be doubt. And each time you notice, you can simply think, yes, diamond mind. Allow that process to deepen. And in a moment, this part of the process will come to an end and the learning will continue in the background in useful ways. But you can begin now just to bring some awareness back to your body, noticing the contact with the chair, the feeling of your feet or hands, perhaps taking a deeper, more engaging breath. And as you do, you can come back, bringing with you the clarity, strength, and forward momentum of your diamond mind, beginning 1 to 5. 1, more aware of the room. 2, bring back a pleasant sense of energy into the body. 3, maybe moving fingers and toes. 4, take a comfortable, refreshing breath. 5, eyes open back in the room, carrying that transformative energy all the way towards your goals. Woohoo!